Hello, Logan and Apps back again. Fifth instalment, a review. This time, Life is Strange Before the Storm. Apps, how you doing?
Good, thanks. Other than just wasting 5 minutes calling it Beyond the Storm on the first recording, but yeah, good to be back doing Life is Strange Before the Storm.
Here we go. So, let's get these cards on the table, debatably again, and give us the rundown.
Yeah, so my experience with Life is Strange is that I loved the first series of the game. Superb narrative focused adventure game. Before the Storm follows that same structure. It's a third person game. You wander around in environments, you talk to people, you make decisions, choices. There are gameplay mechanics in there as well, that kind of mix things up. But before the Storm, I was a little bit apprehensive to be invested in because there were a couple of things that had changed significantly. First of all, the developer was not Don't Nod, who did the first season. So for me, it's a bit of a red flag. The chaps at Deck 9 in this case took over from it, and I hadn't really had much. I didn't have much history about what they'd done. I cannot name a single game of what they'd produced before. So I was a little bit worried that a franchise that I'd grown to love had then been put in the hands of a relatively unknown, developer for me. And also that the voice actress for Chloe Price, who's the main character in this prequel, was going to be different to who was in the first season. So Ashley Birch, and that's who voiced her the first time round. She was unable to do the voice acting before the Storm because there was the whole voice actors and voice artist strike that was going on. So that was a little bit of a pain in the backside, if I'm honest. Those two things put me off from being hyped up and excited for the game. I was worried that it was going to be a bit of a car crash, but I took the plunge, and we're here to find out whether it's paid off.
Yeah, so there you go. So obviously, it's a quite a heavily story-driven narrative game.
Yes.
Obviously, without spoilers, what is the broad story here?
The broad story is that if having played the first Life is Strange, you kind of know what happens. With what's about to happen in the prequel, even you kind of know where it's heading. But this is focused around Chloe, who is the friend of Max in the first one, and you control Max, so you get to control Chloe this time. And in this time period, like a year before the events of the first series, Max is off at a different school, a different location, so Chloe's kind of on her own, and she meets this really, really popular girl called Rachel, and it's about their friendship really, and how that blossoms. There's lots of obviously Chloe's got a very tricky, should we say, home life. There's a lot of controversy going on at home with her mum and her new kind of potential stepdad, and she's never really got on with people at school. A little bit of a rebel, like always getting in trouble. And it's essentially, when you boil it down to the basics, it really is a story about Chloe and Rachel's friendship and where that goes. And it's great because it made me regret making certain decisions in the first season, kind of getting the rich backstory for real this time, being able to play through it, understanding why Chloe was perhaps like she was in the first season, kind of made me feel a little bit bad about some of the things I'd done whilst I was Max, which you don't often get I thought that was a really interesting response that I had to it, that it made me regret things that I'd done or said in the first game based on getting to know Chloe a bit better and getting to know her relationship with Rachel. So really, really impressive, the story. I think it was so well written, and that's something that definitely wasn't lost in the transition from developers.
No, that's good. So obviously we know that there was a different developer. Did they use the same engine? Does it look, a continuation from the previous game? And how's it presented to us?
Yeah, I mean the visuals are the same as the first season. They're not groundbreaking. This is a bit of a budget game. It's not a full price AAA 60 or 40 UK pound game. So you get what you pay for with the aesthetic look. Arguably looks better than Telltale. I think presentation wise and how it's directed in terms of the cutscenes, and how it's just, it kind of, as you take it in and you view it, it's miles ahead of what Telltale do. They really are falling behind in this front, like the way they introduce music in Before the Storm, the way that it's kind of all fits together. Definitely impressed, considering it's a narrative focused game, in getting the visuals up to scratch and making it a great experience to play through.
No, that's good. So generally, I'm guessing then it's more of the same in that you progress and the game design is for you to progress through the story and see what's what and make your decisions.
Yeah, I mean it's a game heavily focused and kind of it changes based on the decisions that you make. So you have to live and die by what you choose at the time. There's in the first season there was there's a mechanic where you could move back in time, so you could actually go back and change a decision if you didn't like or felt a bit uneasy with it. Obviously, that was specific to Max. Now, Chloe doesn't have that power, so you lose the time travel or the time manipulation mechanic. And what they've introduced this time is something called a back talk, and it's like a mini game. So you might get in a confrontation with someone verbally, and the aim of the game is to put them down enough so that you win out the argument and convince them in whatever you was trying to do. And the way you do that is by listening to what they say, and then you get 3 or 4 responses to choose from, and picking a response that's relevant to what they said before previously, and kind of spinning it and jabbing at them with it. So it's a little bit of an interesting take there, but generally you're walking around environments, you're solving very light puzzles, you're talking to people, you're getting to know the story, and then you're making decisions based on the information you've got. There is one awesome segment in it which is completely optional, but you can actually go through a tabletop game within the game with a group of people on a bench. So a group of people that Chloe knows. You can sit down, completely optional. You can tell them they're nerds and tell them that you're interested. But I sat down and played with them, and it was great. It was about 15-20 minutes, but it was a really nice distraction.
Yeah,
why are you putting that in there? But it's good.
That sounds good. So I think one of my biggest criticisms with narrative-driven games is that it kind of sacrifices a lot of the control and the mechanism of, it feels a bit clunky. How does this one feel? Is it, again, much of the same as from what you felt from the first one?
Yeah, it is. You're right to point those things out, because that is typically one of the trade-offs, is that it doesn't feel quite as polished as other games. Not to say that it's difficult to control at all. It's just very simple. You are wandering from place to place. You're interacting using the face buttons to talk to people. There's no real advanced mechanics to get your head around. The talkback mechanic is there again if that's a route you want to go down and try and talk your way out of certain problems. So not a lot of depth there, but I think for what it's trying to service, it's perfectly okay to have the kind of minimalist approach.
Does its job.
Yeah.
So you've already mentioned, the voice acting concern. How did you find that, and how did you deal with that in the end? Did it work for you?
Yeah, I didn't even notice, to be honest. Once I sat down and played
After
all that worrying and staying awake, brain getting annoyed at it didn't even notice. So great job from all the voice actors. I think as we know, when you've got a narrative focused game, the voice acting is key to having a good game, and the replacement they brought in and the supporting cast around your main character was fantastic. The soundtrack is out of this world. It really is so well integrated into the time of the game's setting, and also Chloe as a character. You can just imagine her listening to these types of songs, and it's fantastic. I'm so impressed with the sound aspect of it in all areas, and that's the voice acting, the soundtrack, and just the general game sounds. They really do add an extra level to the game.
Good stuff. So how much is it, and how long does it take you to get through it? Do you think it gives you good value as a game?
So there are 3 episodes in this particular one. There was 5 in the original Life is Strange. So there's only 3 in this one, in this prequel.
Cut it down.
They have cut it down a little bit, which is a little bit of a disappointment. But I think that the story that needs to be told and to be shorter. And by that same margin, it's at a cheaper price. I think I paid 12 or 13 UK pounds for it. You can buy it for 14 UK pounds. Obviously with sales, it's going to be a little bit cheaper than that. So you're not paying top dollar for it, but you're not getting 5 full episodes. But I must say, each of the episodes are quite meaty, like over 2 hours. With Telltale, I find that they're normally under 2 hours. They're closer to 90 minutes than 2 hours. In some of the cases for Life is Strange Before the Storm, they were close to 3 hours. So you're definitely getting a lot of meat for the 3 episodes. And if you get the deluxe edition, which I think is £5 more, there's a bonus episode coming at some point this year, which is like a prequel to this even, where Max and Chloe are interacting before Max disappears and goes off to wherever she's going to. So, and there's an extra episode there that people probably have to buy separately if they haven't, or if they've got the deluxe edition, they'll be able to get hold of as soon as it's available.
Nice one. So, what are your closing thoughts on this game then?
For a game that I was expecting the worst of, and for a franchise that I'd grown to love just after one season, I have to say that they knocked it out of the park with this one. Really, there are issues with it. There's it's not really doing anything innovation wise with the series. It's sticking to the status quo. You do get a little bit of less control than what you do with Telltale in terms of your dialogue choices. Normally you maybe get two or three. Telltale, you've normally got at least 4 there that you can do, so you kind of lose a bit of control, but that services a much stronger narrative. If I compare it directly to Life is Strange, I think I'm within my right to do, considering I played it. I felt like this one's just a little bit below the original in terms of the story. I don't think it was as interesting, but still a standout against other games that have tried similar things and not done so well. So really impressed. It got my most surprising game award for 2017 because I was just so prepared for a disaster, and it really wasn't a disaster. It's a great game, and anyone that was a fan of the first one that was put off by similar reasons to me, ignore them, shut your brain off, just sit through and play it. You'll love it.
There you go. So I think we know where this is going, but should our audience buy it or bin it?
Fucking buy it.
There you go. If a little spoiler for you, that is 4 bites in a row. That will give you a bit of a glimpse as to which videos we've done this evening, should I say?
Yeah.
But no, it sounds like good stuff. So what official Dimp grading does it get?
Life is Strange Before the Storm gets itself a silver.
There you go. Good stuff then.
Very good stuff. And for reference, the first season got a gold. This, as I said, was just a little bit below that. I feel like the silver was a fair score. And I do, when I get a sequel or a prequel in this case, something that's in a franchise, I tend to compare them directly. And I felt that the first one was just a little bit stronger, but this is still worth your time and worth your money. Go out and get it if you're interested.
There you go. I don't think we've got much more to say other than thanks for your time and ta-ra.
Chloe, breakfast.
My dad's gone. My best friend has left me.
Hey, Mom. You wanted to talk?
And home life is a joke.
David's a good man.
Dad was a good man.
Your mother. She's hurting, Chloe.
You're not my father.
Sometimes all I want to do is shut my eyes and tell the world to go to hell. Am I wrong to think like that?
Oh, good. You're here.
Chloe Price. Rachel Amber.
Oh, shit.
That can't be the same girl from last night.
Hey, dickhead.
Last night was amazing.
Come on, hurry up.
There's more to experience out there than just Arcadia Bay. Don't be surprised if one day I'm just out of here.
Sometimes, when you meet someone who's going to change your life, you just know it, I guess.
Let's do something fun.
Fuck yes. Rachel, run! What the hell?
Next time, mind your own business.
Calm down. Walk away.
Whatever's going on between us is special.
You can't leave! Why not? Because I don't want to ruin this the way I ruin everything else in my life.
What's going to happen now? No fucking idea. But one thing I'm sure of, it all began when I met her.